Um, this is an overview of the book, which is called Psychology of Quality of Life, Hedonic Well-Being, Life Satisfaction, Eudaimonia, published by Springer and authored by Joseph Sergi. I am the author of the book, Joseph Sergi, and we're in the midst of providing an overview of the book content. So much of the book is divided in those different sections. We talked about those different sections that are up to life domains and their effect on happiness, and to give you an idea of what's in that part, in that in the part of that book, of the book. Um, we already talked about work well-being and the studies related to work well-being, residential well-being, and again the research related to that topic, material well-being, and now we are up to social, family, and marital well-being. So again, this module focuses on the research related to that topic. So this is what we're going to be talking about. We will define the construct of social, family, and marital well-being. Um, we will answer the question, does social, family, marital well-being contribute significantly to happiness? If so, how? Are there any effects of social, family, marital well-being on health outcomes? And what are the predictors of social, family, and marital well-being? So we'll start out with a bunch of definitions. What is social, family, and marital well-being? And as you can see from the slide, there's a bunch of definitions. Satisfaction with social life, social adjustment, social capital, social support, family life quality, satisfaction with family life, social and family functioning, family quality of life, relationship happiness, involvement in and quality of relationships. So starting out with satisfaction with social life. You know, quite a bit of research in quality of life and well-being have conceptualized and were able to demonstrate very clearly that in people's mind, when you ask people how they feel about their social life, it is a segment. Uh, it is a segment uh, in one of the many life segments or life spheres that people house their positive and negative emotions about their social interactions. So this is very clearly demarcated, and people do segment their social experiences in a particular domain we call social life, and therefore again people can respond readily to questions related to social life. So when we ask them about how satisfied they are with their social life, people respond quite readily, and and much research has shown that again, satisfaction with social life uh, as one conceptualization of social, family, and marital well-being does contribute to life satisfaction or subjective well-being. Another one is social adjustment. And social adjustment, um, and in the context, you know, um, people who are socially adjusted, that social adjustment contributes to subjective well-being, and therefore some quality of life researchers have used social adjustment as a surrogate for capturing what we call social, family, and marital well-being. Um, Let me give you an idea of social adjustment, at least in the context of youth. In one study, social adjustment was construed in terms of social coherence, social integration, social contribution, and social actualization. Social coherence would be something like the world is too well, let me give you I find it easy to predict what will happen next in society. That would be social coherence. Another one for an item for social integration would be I feel close to other people in my community. How about an item capturing social contribution? I have something valuable to give to the world. Social actualization would be the world is becoming a better place for everyone. So these are examples of items of social adjustment. And so, again, social adjustment has been shown to correlate highly with subjective well being. Social capital. Social capital. A number of quality of life research have defined social well being in terms of membership and participation in the community and organization. This is social capital. I'm looking here at a table in the book in which I'm looking at a specific measure of social capital that is defined in terms of social support, social participation, and community bonds, and some very specific and concrete measures um, are proposed for each of these three dimensions. Another conceptualization of social, family, and marital well-being is social support. Social support refers to the quality and number of persons whom an individual trusts and relies on in a matter of need. So, again, that has been demonstrated to relate closely to uh, measures of subjective well being. Family life quality, family life quality. Um, give you an idea of a measure of family life quality. This particular measure involves six dimensions or six resources: love, status, services, information, goods, and money. So the individual's evaluation of family life essentially reflects the degree to which the family environment satisfied personal needs for love and affection, respect and esteem, status, comfort and assistance, communication, resulting in shared meaning, uh, ownership of personal things, and money for personal use. So a composite of these would comprise the family life quality construct. Satisfaction with family life. Quality of life researchers viewed family and marital life in terms of marital satisfaction, satisfaction with children, satisfaction with family, satisfaction with relationship within the family, and all of this captures this domain we call social, family, and marital life. Social and family functioning. Social functioning refers to the extent to which people are satisfied with relationships and their performance in social roles. Here are examples of survey items designed to capture social functioning. Um, were you limited in pursuing your hobbies or leisure time activities? That would be a reverse coded item. Another reverse coded item would be I have trouble meeting the needs of my friends. Compared to usual, how active are you socially? Compared to others your age, how active are you socially? Again, positive responses will will or should reflect social and family functioning. How about family QOL? Um, this particular conceptualization is based on several dimensions: parenting quality, involving several dimensions such as paternal and maternal knowledge of their children's behavior, paternal maternal expectations of their children's good behavior, paternal and maternal monitoring of their children's behavior, paternal maternal discipline of their children, paternal maternal parenting style based on parents' degree of demandingness of their children and responsiveness to their demands, and paternal maternal perceived control of their children. That would be essentially one dimension. Another dimension would be parent-child relational quality, which involves several dimensions such as paternal maternal trust in their children, children's trust in their parents, children's readiness to communicate with parents, and children's satisfaction with parental control. How about relationship happiness? Other quality of life researchers have conceptualized family and marital well being in terms of relationship happiness. For example, this one study measured marital happiness using a self report item capturing relationship happiness, such as respondents were asked about how happy she was with her marriage, how happy they are with their marriage. And responses were recorded on a 7-point scale varying from extremely unhappy to extremely happy. Involvement in and quality of romantic relationship. Many studies have construed romance, marital well-being in terms of involvement in and quality of romantic relationships. Let me give you an example of a measure. That one measure looks at 6 different dimensions of relationship quality. These are relationship satisfaction, commitment, intimacy, trust, passion, and love. So the next question that we want to answer is, does social, family, marital well-being contribute to significantly to happiness? And if so, how? And as you can see from this slide, there are several theories that have been introduced and articulated in the quality of life literature that explains the relationship. First of all, let me say that there's plenty of evidence to suggest that there is a strong relationship between social, family, marital well-being and subjective well-being, i.e. personal happiness, meaning that the more of that, more of this. So, need to belong, attachment, the buffering effect of family, bottom-up spillover, horizontal spillover, compensation, and mattering. The need to belong. There's much evidence in psychology that suggests that we as humans are motivated to belong to families and other social units. When people are asked what is necessary for your happiness, or what is it that makes your life meaningful, most people mention satisfying relationships with family, friends, and romantic partners. This sense of belonging serves to aid survival in many ways. Intimate social bonds serve survival by keeping children close to their caregivers. Adults who become romantically involved tend to marry and raise their children in healthful ways to ensure that the children would repeat the same behavior, thus propagating the human species. Much of our behavior as humans is geared toward seeking social approval from romantic partners and family members and avoiding their disapproval. We spend much money buying things that ultimately would make us more acceptable to others. We care deeply. Sexual motivation and the need to belong define us in many ways. Attachment. Infants and children are emotionally attached to their caregivers. This emotional attachment creates strong social bonds and has survival value. Infants feel comforted when they hear familiar voices and see familiar faces, the voices and faces of their caregivers. When separated from their caregivers, infants become highly distressed. When reunited with their caregivers, they feel joy and relief. Attachment leads infant to explore, that is, infants who feel secure in their knowledge that they are attached to caregivers freely explore their environment. By the same token, those who do not feel secure in their attachment to caregivers exhibit fear and anxiety and cling to their caregivers, seeking security through the caregivers. That's attachment. The buffering effect of family. Family well-being does play an important role in subjective well-being and through a what you call a buffering effect. What's a buffering effect? A buffering effect comes from the spouse providing social support when one is highly stressed, thus preventing distress that leads to lower rates of illness and depression. The bottom-up spillover, again, we explained that in a number of other contexts. It's a sort of a satisfaction hierarchy. And family and marital life is one among many of the life domains. Much positive and negative affect is invested in this domain as a function of the life events directly related to family and marital relations. This overall attitude that the person in relation to his or her family and marital life spills over vertically to influence his or her feelings about his or her overall life. How about horizontal spillover? Horizontal spillover involves the notion that feelings invested in the family marital life domain may influence the well-being of other life domains such as work life, leisure life, and material life. Conversely, the feelings invested in other life domains could spill over to family and marital life too. Thus, overall happiness is likely to be influenced not only by a bottom up spillover from family and marital life to overall life, but also from the interactions among the various life domains. Compensation. We talked about compensation again in previous contexts. Compensation refers to the psychological strategy that people use to maintain and possibly enhance their subjective well-being by shifting priorities in their lives. If they feel unhappy in a particular life domain, they shift their energies to enhance satisfaction in another domain. This is essentially one of the explanations describing why marriage is positively associated with subjective well-being. Last explanation is mattering. The theory of mattering states that the quality of social relationships, like friendships, is likely to affect happiness through perceived mattering. That is, if a person perceived that his friendship matters a lot to his friend, this friendship is likely to enhance his subjective well-being. Interpersonal mattering is essentially the psychological tendency to evaluate the self as significant to specific other people, like a friend. Perceptions of mattering denote a sense of belongingness with a significant other. Perceptions of mattering are formed when the person observes that a significant other pays much more attention to the person in question than other people and things. Okay, moving to another question, which is, are there any effects of social, family, marital well-being on health outcomes? And the answer is yes. Many instances there are effects on the immune defense, risk of death, mortality, recurring heart attacks, survival rates, hopelessness, and suicidal ideation. When it comes to immune defense, let me read something about one study. Okay, one study reported that grief and depression following the death of a spouse decrease immune defense. Immune defense in turn accounts for increase in disease incidence. How about risk of death? One study looking at widows found that the risk of death doubled in a week following the widow's partner's death. How about mortality? A study focusing on leukemia patients who have recently undergone bone marrow transplants found that only 20% who remained alive 2 years later reported that they had little love and emotional support from family members, where 54% who remained alive reported such love, receiving much love and emotional support. How about heart attacks? A large study of heart attack patients found that the rate of recurring heart attack doubled in a 6-month period for those who are living alone compared to other groups. How about survival rate? Another large-scale study of heart disease patients revealed that those who were married registered an 82% 5-year survival rate compared to 50% of those who were not married. Last but not least is hopelessness and suicidal ideation. One study was able to demonstrate that family well-being is a strong predictor of hopelessness and suicidal ideation among Chinese adolescents. Okay, now let's look at predictors of social, family, and marital well-being. And as you can see from this slide, you have a whole bunch of studies that looked at a whole bunch of predictors. And these predictors are categorized in terms of social and family related factors, individual difference factors, and factors dealing with conflict between family and work. Okay, focusing on social and family related factors. What are examples of some of the factors or some of the variables there? Family communication. So there's more family communication, the more social, family, and marital well-being. Socializing with family members, well, obviously, the more you socialize with family members, again, that would increase social, family, and marital well-being. Friendship between and among, again, family members, that would, of course, increase social, family, and marital well-being. Attachment style. Attachment style is that, some attachment style can be positive, ambivalent, or avoidant. So The ambivalent and the avoidant attachment styles play a significant role in dissatisfaction with the relationship for both men and women. Uh, Social support, again, those people who believe that they have much social support from family members, um, then uh, that comes through in terms of social and family marital well-being. Having children, well, having children is sort of a little bit more complicated because the relationship, it's not like a family that has children uh, is a contributing factor to social, family, and marital well-being. The fact of the matter is that studies have shown that there's a lot of what you call moderating factors, and those moderators are household income, family composition, age of children, tenure of residence versus relocation, health status of children. Again, these are examples of what you call moderator, but definitely there is a relationship moderated by a host of other factors. Family structure. Um, Again, studies have shown that uh, families that are headed by a single parent uh, does not experience much social, family, and marital well-being compared to, let's say, a traditional family with with both mother and father. Caring for a family member with a mental illness. Now, this is a factor that has been shown that when you have a family in which a family member has a mental illness and the other family members um, try and take care of that member who has that mental illness, it takes quite a toll, an emotional toll on the other family members, or on the whole family at large. And ultimately, this factor contributes much to ill-being in a family context. The sense of community, when a family feels that they belong to a community, they are part of a community, then that really enhances, their social, family, and marital well-being. In terms of regular sex between husband and wife, or uh, between boyfriend girlfriend, or again partners uh, who are in a relationship, in a steady relationship, regular sex uh, tends to contribute to, again, marital well-being in this instance. Individual difference factors. Okay, well, there's a bunch of them too. Marital status. Again, marital status in the sense that people who are married uh, tend to experience much social, family, and marital well-being than those people who are not married, like in single, divorced, widowed, and so forth. Those people who manage their time pressure and they manage to do this successfully, they tend to register higher levels of social, family, and marital well-being than those people who are not very successful in managing their time. How about families with social uh, problem-solving skills? Again, there are a bunch of studies that show that families that use problem-solving uh, skills, as for example, as rational problem solving, tend to exhibit higher levels of social, family, and marital well-being. The big five personality factors, the big five The big five personality factors would be extroversion, neuroticism, agreeableness, openness, and conscientiousness. And the research findings show that um, extroversion and agreeableness are related with social, family, and marital well-being. But when it comes to neuroticism, and openness, these two factors actually contribute less instead of more, contributes less to social, family, and marital well-being. Well, of course, neuroticism seems to be obvious, but the one that is not that obvious is openness to experience. So my hunch, or at least my interpretation of the study findings, is that for maybe partners um, who are open, much more open to experience, that are likely to um, express a little bit, well, not a little bit, express infidelity, and therefore infidelity contributes to negative social, family, and marital well-being. Um, Factors dealing with conflict between family and work, and in this case, the work-related variables such as work demands and employee control of work time. So you have studies that have shown that if work demand is high and employee it doesn't have much control of his or her time at work, then that really takes a toll on family and social and marital well-being. Individual and family related variables such as time and financial demands from the family. Well, so again, we're looking here at the same thing, but again in a family context. And in this situation, if you have too much time, time demand and financial demand from the family, then and if the individual, of course, fails to meet those demands, then social, family, and marital well-being plummets. Institutional factors such as high quality and affordable child care, again, here we have um, if you have a company that provides high quality and affordable childcare, or at least helps in that regard, then that contributes to social, family, and marital well-being. Last but not least um, is this business of product and services related variables, such as buying and using labor saving devices. So, research in this area revealed that working women balance the demands of work and family by doing some of the following: buying and using labor saving devices, such as disposable diapers, meals away from home, and services such as child care, things like not baking from scratch, not doing price checks on purchases, reducing time in household production, shopping less frequently and making greater use of husbands and shopping activities, shopping less for food and cooking less at home, and establishing food preparation routines, such as preparing food during weekends for use during the week, and having very simple meals and doing more planning of food shopping and preparation. These, again, would be the examples of this last category of factors, product and services related factors. Okay, I think we've said enough about social, family, and marital well being, and I hope you have a good feel for the topic. And this concludes this module.